Hi,
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. All
Uh,
good?
good. Yeah, no, good. Apologies for usual
Well,
technical difficulties, but I'm here.
well, thank you for accommodating my schedule.
Oh no, of course. No,
Um,
what are you doing tomorrow? You're going
we're going
to
to see there's an opera at Lincoln Center
Yes.
based on a dream of by or about Frida Kahlo and Diego
Oh
Rivera.
yes.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we don't know any more about it than that.
Sure.
So it may be whatever. We just um, we're looking forward to it. Interestingly, in the process of discussing it by text, Frida Kahlo became Frodo.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
spell check. So
Yes.
anyway, so you haven't had your breakfast yet, right?
No, no, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
thanks for getting up early.
Oh no,
Did
for
you have a
sure.
good week?
I did. I did. It went by quickly. I had some. Yeah, no. It went very well. How about you?
Yeah, I was very busy because we still have the Matisse exhibition on.
Yes.
We're getting 800 people a day,
Wow.
and of course within that, a lot of people who um, I know and they know me, and they just want to say hello,
Yes. Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
fine,
Yes.
because you never know as some business happens. But it's yeah, so that's pretty much nonstop. Next week is the last week, so
Yeah.
things will get quiet after, well, before the Memorial Day weekend, and yeah, but we've had very good reaction to it
Yeah.
from the public and even from museum people who've seen it.
Yeah.
They've liked it a lot.
Good.
So yeah, and I don't know. I have a date of July 1st for this procedure on my spine,
Yeah.
which I'm fine with that. But I have also I'm going to get a second opinion from another surgeon at another
Sure.
hospital about a month before that,
Sure.
in a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
just to see. Um, but it's amazing how nowadays how much I guess it's maybe the law, how much of I can get all my test results. I mean, I can get everything, including MRI and X-rays. They're all posted on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty interesting because that actually makes it easier to get a second opinion because
Sure. Yes.
I can just send that material to the other
Yeah.
doctor, and
I
he
can
can say,
remember. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can remember when I was seeing a new chiropractor and I had previously gotten an x-ray and I had to send to them, like physically write something with like
yes,
my print signature, and like and the records could only be released and then returned back. Like there was an
it was
enormous
a
amount
big
of.
deal. It was a real
Yeah,
hassle. I know,
yeah.
but I think that the patient rights must have
Good.
been
Yeah.
yeah. So they I have to know. I have to know what's happening in my body, or Uh,
Yes.
um, so you were doing something on the Monday? Were you doing something that was to do with lobbying, or you had
Oh,
a?
yeah, no, there was a very brief, it was just around transit and supporting transit. Yeah, it's interesting because so my neighborhood has what are called at grade transit stations, which means they are at the same level as um, the street.
Yeah, they're not under or over.
They're not under or over, which is actually the least safe kind because they're most likely, therefore, for the light rail to interact with cars or pedestrians.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
was put in my neighborhood because it was the cheapest. In my neighborhood, obviously being the traditionally um,
Yeah.
poorer and people of color
Yeah.
neighborhoods. And so both, it's interesting, they're lobbying for a couple things. One, an additional stop, but also additional safety protections throughout this
Yeah.
corridor. And so, yeah, no, that was good.
Have you
And
had accidents? I mean, have the
there are, no, I mean, there are. And I mean, it's fairly, I mean, unfortunately, when it happens, they're usually, I mean, usually it's a car or a person doing the wrong thing. I mean, usually it's,
okay, not the train.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the train is fairly
Yeah.
consistent, but it's
Yeah.
someone running for the train or a car who
Yeah.
either didn't see it
Yeah.
or who tried to make a run of something and didn't realize how fast
Yeah.
that the train can't
Yeah. Yeah.
stop or
Yeah.
slow and that still doesn't, yeah, if the train were in a different place, underground or over,
Yeah. Yeah.
then
Yeah.
that risk wouldn't be there. And
It
so I
wouldn't
think
be
it's,
that. Yeah.
but
Uh,
they've been promising some of these stations for 30 years. It's part of a plan that's been approved. Almost again, the entire time I've lived here, every so often it comes up for levies. We vote for it. I always talk about how Seattleites love to tax ourselves. I mean, we don't love paying taxes, but we are always willing, whether it's for schools,
yeah.
whether it's for roads, whether it's for transit, we will vote to tax ourselves more because we believe in that. And again, this whole thing with millionaires, which again, Howard Schultz came out the latest to say our new mayor, Katie Wilson, is anti-business and blah, blah, blah. Every single time, this is both. So now both the data is there. New York taxes millionaires. The income rate is higher for millionaires, and the millionaires haven't left since that law was enacted in 2021. There are actually almost double the amount of millionaires. It doesn't. They can. The emotional appeal is, oh, if you raise taxes on millionaires and businesses, it'll drive them away. But the data doesn't do that. Same thing with Massachusetts. Same thing with New Jersey. It doesn't. They try and scare people with that tactic. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, we had a billionaire who became a mayor of New York. So, I mean, he lives here.
Yeah.
I mean, uh, yeah, and I mean I think the second home idea. I think that's valid for
Yep.
people who have. They're not living here, but they
Right.
have a very, very expensive apartment that's simply for convenience sake.
Yes.
And I think in a way, well, I first of all, I think any landlord, residential or commercial, who is intentionally keeping space empty
Yes.
should pay a tax. But the
Yes.
reason they're keeping the space empty is actually because it helps their taxes. It's a
So
very
yeah, no, they're yeah,
strange
they're
loophole.
right. Yeah, yeah.
If they, I mean, as I understand it, if a storefront that has rented for $20,000 a month on Madison Avenue loses a tenant,
Right.
then if they then rent it for $10,000 a month, then it somehow adversely affects a tax base. I don't understand how it
Right.
works, but I've been told it is more profitable for them
To
to
stay
keep a
empty.
space empty
Yes.
until
Yeah.
they can get a high rent or
which which I understand, and I mean, so here, this is interesting. Our downtown, from the pandemic, and so now we're 5-6 years on, still all this downtown revitalization, but so many shops sit empty just because people don't shop downtown the way they did. People don't shop in person, and this doesn't even have to do with the pandemic. It has to do with Amazon and the internet and all that, the way they used to 10 years ago. And downtown hasn't recovered, and people talk about, converting those office buildings to housing and all that. And but what they're so now what they're doing, these spaces that have sat empty for years and years and years, now they're doing this sort of thing where local businesses are opening pop-ups, and it's subsidized by the city, and so the landlords aren't losing their rent rate, but businesses who couldn't otherwise afford the the downtown rate are get. I know. I think I think programs like that are great. And at what point do they say, I don't know. We need to charge these rates. I don't know. I don't know. But
I mean,
yes,
if you have it doesn't happen in New York. We don't have that. Luckily, have not had that, but a lot of cities have that. They need a revive. The only way they can revitalize the downtown is to create, in a sense, a different kind of local color, a different kind of, because if there are just lots of big empty office buildings, no one wants to go there,
yes,
day or
yeah,
night.
yeah,
Whereas once you have, I don't know, farmers markets or whatever you can put
sure,
in there,
sure,
people will come back,
yeah.
and yeah. So somebody told me actually that that the free bus deal in New York actually would should technically run at a profit because of the cost of chasing people who
No,
haven't
this
paid
is
their
okay.
fares.
This has been my argument for years and years and years. Transit should be free. Absolutely, transit should be free. It costs fair enforcement. In most cases, doesn't cost what it recoups. Most transit fare makes up at most 15% of their budget anyway. And remember, everyone who rides transit are people who otherwise who don't have or who don't have the other means to travel, which means they're probably traveling to jobs. They're already the lowest economically, and they pay for transit with their taxes, so they pay for it twice when they pay for it with their fares. Whereas the people who don't ride transit at all, they also pay for it with their taxes. They don't pay for the fares, and they think, well, why should I have to? Because I don't benefit. You do benefit because everyone who's on transit isn't in a car competing with
Yeah,
you on the road. Everyone benefits from transit. Transit should be free. No, yeah, no, this is
I
absolute.
think also if it was free, even a marginal number of people who would be driving don't drive. It would, in
Yes,
other words,
yes. Um,
there would be people. It would take people off the road,
oh, it
both in
abs-
terms of taxis and private cars.
Yeah, no, yes, no. I'm a member of a transit right. So Seattle has a one price fits all, meaning if you go one stop or the
Yeah,
entire
yeah,
line, and it's
yeah,
$3.75. I'm not going to pay $4 to go to the library a few blocks away. But if the bus was free, or if it was a variable rate, like if I only had to pay 50 cents, I
yeah.
would hop on a bus just for two stops. But I don't. I will only take the ride if it's, and they've done, there's all sorts of math and models that people, especially in a one size fits all solution, they'll only ride if it's 5 or 6 stops, which means you're missing out on all those local rides. And people are like myself. I will hop in my Jeep to go 2 blocks, but I will go literally across town on transit, which is, I mean, it's
But
almost.
the two blocks with your Jeep, you're using the gasoline cost is maybe the same as the transit would have
At this
been. Is
point,
that
at this point, it probably is. No, you're right. No, at this point, that probably is. But no, yes, absolutely. Transit should be free. The fair enforcement and the culture of fair enforcement, of turnstiles, of beeping, of gates, of people in militarized uniforms to enforce fair. All of that goes away when you take fares away. Like, I mean, it's, and all of that is much more welcoming to many more people who ride the subway or a light rail or a subway once, and it's all too much for them. But you take away many of those elements, and it isn't. So yeah, I
yeah.
think
It's also encourages tourism because budget conscious tourists are baffled usually by transit systems.
that's yes, and I
I
yeah,
mean, and they just avoid it or whatever. But you
I
have cities where transit is free,
yes,
like I think in Zurich or some of those Swiss cities where you just
yep,
get on the streetcar and get off.
yes,
Everybody uses it. The wealthy
yep,
people use it, and the poor people use it, and the
yep,
tourists are told about it by the hotels.
right. Um,
So
I I I I always make it to learn about the transit system when I'm going to visit a place, both because I'm a budget conscious traveler, but also just because I know exactly what you said. Like usually when I move to a place, it sometimes takes me 2 or 3 months before feel confident because I don't know the routes. I don't know. Thankfully, with the internet, all of this is available now, so you can find this out before you even visit. Here in Seattle, we had a downtown free area. It was primarily utilized by people who needed social services, so primarily people who were unsheltered, who were traveling through. There was a core between sort of Harborview Hospital and various mental health services around
yeah,
there. A service, another area where there's a mental, and this is to this day, even though they've done away with the ride free area, it's now been over a decade. The areas that that people who live unsheltered congregate are really along this bus route, but the primary reason people did away with it wasn't because it wasn't successful or it wasn't utilized, but because homeless people used it and they didn't want to ride transit with homeless. I mean, it's just the most cynical. And it's not, sometimes these people were talking to, I mean, so I don't know. I mean, I think that there are always going to be barriers. Some people will never, and that's okay. They will stick to their cars, but again, the roads will be that much more free for them and other. I am absolutely pro transit and
the London
go ahead.
subway
Yep.
system is
Yes.
much more egalitarian in the
Yes.
fact that, uh, well, I don't think a guy from the Emiratis is going to use it, but I mean, Londoners of all stripes use the underground
Yes.
to go.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, and it
Yeah.
doesn't it doesn't have a class signifier, and New York didn't either. I mean, because people that worked on Wall Street would always take the subway.
Yeah. Do you
I mean,
feel that that's
everybody took
changed?
this.
Do you feel that's
Oh, I
changed?
think it's yeah, totally changed. No, I
Uh huh.
do.
Yeah.
I do. I
Yeah.
absolutely do. Well, I think also because of greater wealth and people's also a different there's more showing off. So if they can afford a car and a driver, I mean,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
some Fifth and Park Avenue some days is packed with these huge black
Yeah.
SUVs
Yeah. Yeah.
ferrying one person,
Yes. Yeah.
Um, but you used to see, I mean, I would see, uh, I saw Douglas Auchincloss, who was a very well-known writer at the time.
Yes.
I saw Egon von Furstenberg. We saw Ed Koch all the time
Sure. Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
subway. I mean, you'd
Yes.
see
Yeah.
people who were riding the subway who were
Yeah.
going to work. Yeah, but they wouldn't be caught dead on the subway.
Okay. Oh wow. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no, I think it's very different. It's a work, it's a work, it's a working class system now, pretty much. I mean, and all elderly people, elderly retired people.
Right.
But the problem I mean, the problem I encounter is that the New York subway system being antiquated has a lot of steps for
Yeah. Yeah.
much worse than the London system.
Okay.
I don't know
Even
about
though it's
Paris,
yeah.
but there are very few
Yeah.
stations that have street level elevators,
Right. Right.
or escalators. I mean, some do, but a lot of them don't. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I mean, I get notifications, and it's for me, I have to turn them off because knowing that an elevator is out at a station, 20 miles away from me, doesn't help me in any way.
Oh, they
But
tell you that?
yeah, no,
They
yes,
tell
but if you're riding it and you know and you're in a wheelchair, you can't get off at that station if the elevator's out. So you have to know I'm gonna have
you
to get
have to
off
know,
early
yes.
or later, or I mean they're I mean yes, it's no, I yeah, thinking about aging in place and all that and transit, but yeah, that that is
I don't think anybody in a wheelchair can use the New York subway system
okay. Yeah, yeah.
unless they're very specific
Right,
stops.
right,
I don't think they
yeah,
can, which is why you have those. And I have a friend of mine who I have lunch with him once a month. He doesn't drive anymore. He comes from the West Side, and he has to call the I don't know if it's free or not. He calls the wheelchair access vans,
right.
which
Yes, yeah.
will cut. But he has to wait. He has to. They can come in an hour or half an hour,
Sure.
or I mean, it's not their fault. But also,
Yeah.
and that also increases the traffic. I mean,
Yes.
you've got another fairly
Yes.
large vehicle with
Yeah.
only two people in it.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Anyway,
All right. Moving away from transit, but
yes,
what made me
yes,
think of it was well, this is just more generally surge pricing, which is where they charge what people are willing to pay. And some businesses have done this all along, like airlines charge different things at different times of year. Other businesses have really specified it, and in some ways, have been so Uber and Lyft kind of created the model where sometimes if there's a traffic accident or suddenly their prices, or if there's some kind of sporting event, suddenly their prices go way up, and sometimes it's people are trapped because they're coming out of an event, everyone's ordering an Uber at the same time, all the prices are going up, and suddenly a trip you were expecting to be $30 to go home is suddenly $200 or something. But this is now bled out. They're talking about putting digital price tags on, and some grocery stores have rolled this out on stores so that they can update the prices in real time.
I saw a news clip about this. I had no idea that they did this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and what made me think of it is, so Boston got in trouble because they're now charging up to $60 for their regular transit, for the regular whatever their version of a subway or light rail, the MTA, that normally costs whatever $2 to $4. It's now costing up to $60 during the weekend or the weeks that FIFA, the
Yeah.
World Cup, is there, and they're
Well,
saying,
that's here. Yeah, they were going to charge like
uh-huh,
hundreds of dollars more to
right,
get for people to go to the World Cup, which is already overpriced.
yes,
They're actually not
yep.
selling tickets
No, I
because
know, and it's getting people
they're
are
so
balking.
expensive.
Yeah, it's so expensive. People aren't selling. The hotels all around the same thing here in Seattle. People aren't buying. They've priced.
They're pricing themselves out of the market. I think it's appalling.
Yep.
I mean, look, in my business, I'm in a retail business.
Yes.
I can't, it is illegal for me to price a work of art differently to this client than that client.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to have a price list that's
Yes.
available
Yes.
for any inspector. I've never had one, but this
Yep.
is the law to have it, and it's obviously people can negotiate, but you could negotiate in a grocery store if you
Of
wanted to
course. No. Yeah. Yeah.
try
Yeah.
to, but everybody has to start at the same place, right?
Yes.
Orange is a three for $1 or whatever.
Yep.
I mean, how in what world is that fair?
Right.
And what I don't know. I mean, I know it happens with the airlines because I mean, Victoria is very conscious of this, and she says we should book these tickets now
Right. Yeah.
because,
Yeah.
or we should wait because
Yep.
if we wait, they'll be cheaper. But I mean, it. I don't want to be. I don't want to be sitting next to somebody and we've paid totally different
Yep.
prices. And I see these ads on TV for hotel, like for booking hotels through this or that app,
Yes.
and they claim it's cheaper,
Yes. Yep.
and they have two guys and one's paid 250 and the other's paid a hundred
Right.
dollars,
Yep.
and they thumb their noses at each other.
Yeah.
But how can that happen?
Right.
I
Um,
mean, why should it be a lottery, or why should it be?
yeah. 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 And no, and well, a couple things. One, it's capitalism. I mean, the market rate, people charge people what they are willing to pay is just a basic tenet of capitalism. So you can't. I mean, you can argue it. I am an anti-capitalist, but it is the system under we live. So it is the system under we live. And that whole thing of I paid a completely different price. That being said, though, I mean, I can. Yeah, I my experience with all those travel apps, I mean, the amount once the fees and once it all pans out, you end up paying the same no matter what. Like I've tried different, yeah, I at least with travel, at least with hotels and airlines, that's been my experience. With concert tickets, I use various apps to not pay full price, and I don't. I mean, I mean, people spend. I know that I'm standing next to someone who's paid $169, but I'm not. I'm never gonna pay that for a concert. But I have. Well, yeah, they're not secrets. They're, like I said, they're apps. They're publicly available. They advertise. They probably wish they had more customers, but there are, yeah, and they work for whatever reason. And part of it is last minute if you're willing to wait. Like you said, I mean, but that then you are doing a form of labor. Like the amount of time I spend researching and making to find the exact the same thing Victoria does with airline tickets, I can do with concert tickets, so I can get
Okay,
the best
yeah,
price. But there's also labor involved in that. Like it takes me time, and
yes,
that's and so that
yeah, yeah. So
yeah.
whereas if yeah, well, I mean, I can understand a concert or a theater having a better price at the last minute, or a better
Yes.
price to
Yes.
fill the place, to
Yes.
because then you're taking a risk,
Yes.
and you might not get it. So I don't think that's unfair. I made a mistake. I was booking, this was about a year ago, a hotel. It's the same hotel I always stay in when I go to Washington.
Right.
And for some reason, I didn't realize I was booking it through, I thought I was booking it with the hotel,
Right.
right?
Yes.
And I was booking it through hotelbookings.com,
Oh yeah. Yes. No. Okay. Yes. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I had no idea until I got a bill which was much higher.
Yes.
And because I have to get I get reimbursed by the government, but the government, being the government, requires
Yes.
that the bill be itemized, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And they
Right.
refused to give me that
Yeah.
because they were a second party. I mean,
Right.
but I had to make calls, and people in my office had to make call after call after call after call to get the price reduced, because and they were scamming. They was basically scamming,
Right. Yeah.
a
Yeah. Yeah.
scam.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they make, because I mean, I'm not completely stupid. It's very easy to mistake the the service for the actual hotel.
Right. Yeah. No.
In
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
words,
Yeah. Yes. Oh no. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I make a point
Yep.
of always booking
Directly through the yes.
directly with the hotel.
Yes.
Um,
but
because I
some
do think I get the best. I mean,
but
I don't believe the other people because
yeah.
I've had this experience where
Right.
yeah, maybe it's 110 a night, but they're going to find all kinds of other stuff that, you
Right.
know,
No. Right. 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 No. And I agree. I prefer to. My experience has been booking directly with the hotels. You often get the best rate. And um, I remember I once booked through, and I was so it was like a third party, and it wasn't even like someone like Expedia or booking.com, like someone at least that you've heard of
yeah.
that advertised. And I felt so not good about it. And it was a trip to Arizona, and Nick was with me. So I have a child with me. And when I arrive in Arizona, somehow the hotel they had booked was in California. And
Oh
so
my God.
now I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. I have no hotel. I've prepaid for a hotel that so now I'm dealing with two things. One, trying to get this canceled because I can't afford to pay $300 for a hotel, but it's
Where
booked.
you halfway across the country,
That
right?
I'm not going to
Yeah.
utilize, and I need to I find a hotel. So it all works out. But again, yeah, I learned the lesson the hard way. My favorite, actually, Fifth Avenue Theater here in Seattle does my favorite thing, which is an hour before all their shows. They release tickets for free to anyone who's there at the box office who's under
Oh,
30. Who's under 30. It's they open it up to anyone,
oh.
for their to encourage youth. But it's just and or pay what you can. They also have pay what you can that opens up an hour before, and so yeah,
Well,
one
that
way.
makes a lot of sense because they want to build an audience.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
that
what's going to be, what's better, an empty seat
right.
or somebody who's getting it for free who might be encouraged to, pay the next time?
Yes, and to me that is different from surge pricing. That is, yes, they're filling an empty seat. They are potentially developing new audience. Yeah, all of that. So I don't know.
But
I guess it's
I
go ahead.
think Uber, I think I'm when I take a taxi to work every day
Yes,
and or an Uber,
yes,
but the Uber I won't pay I will only pay fractionally more from the Uber than the taxi price. And
right,
sometimes it's like double.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I won't. I'll wait and try and find a taxi
yeah.
because why is it double? Why is it? And it's not on a. There's nothing that I can tell about that day or that traffic or whatever.
Right. It,
Why is it suddenly $60 and not $25? I don't know because
and it's
that's
not
the
going, and it doesn't go to the driver. I mean, it's not that that's not. Um, yeah,
no. It's not going to the driver.
yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
No, no, it's not. Yeah.
I don't know
Um,
how they get paid. They get paid a flat rate, or I don't know.
I mean, there.
If they get paid differently from, I mean, a cabbie, if he owns a taxi, he's that's his money.
Right, and those are his hours to decide when you're with a gig service. They always they bill themselves as flexible work, and it is. But if you turn down too many jobs, then you won't get offered jobs, and so it becomes this kind of catch
Oh, I
22
see.
where the drivers say they're stuck driving 11, 12, 13 hours. Otherwise, they'll get kicked out of the system, or they'll get lowered down in the system, and they need, and so I mean, I think, well, again, it some people do it as a meat gap on the weekends, whereas other people it's their full time job, and I think for the people who it's their full time job, and you can tell when you get in, they've set up the whole thing. It feels like a cab. They've got the tablet with the screens. They've got the water and all that,
Yeah.
the charger. But I think that's a real hustle. I think making a full time job, and usually they're signed up with Uber and Lyft, and probably doing Uber Eats and
Well,
DoorDash as well.
I have called an Uber and I got a taxi. I mean,
Oh, huh, huh.
but I had to pay the Uber rate. No, but I mean, fair enough. But I guess you can run it. You can drive a
And with
taxi.
and okay, a taxi, but again, you were paying the Uber rate, and the taxi wasn't metered. They weren't charging you.
Well, no, the if I get in a taxi, I have an app
Yes,
that I put in a taxi. There's a number on the taxi screen.
right.
I oh, I've lost my
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
hold
yeah.
on.
Take it. Yeah.
Wait. Um, I put the number in, and that's it.
Yes.
When a taxi stops, the tip is done, and it's on my Amex, right?
Yeah.
But if I call Uber and I get a taxi,
Right.
then I'm on Uber's app,
Yeah.
and the taxi. Uh, I mean, I can't be on both at the same time. I don't want to charge me twice. But I guess he switches that
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
um, but it's interesting. I found that taxi app is fairly universal now. I mean,
Yeah.
it. I used it. I think I also used it overseas.
Oh wow.
Anyway, yeah, I think so. So, do you want to talk about China or
Yeah. Yeah. What? Yeah. Sure.
well, I will say that the one commentary that I read that I found the most interesting was that they were comparing the ways in which, and this is going back to, um, well, not Mao, but since Mao, the way in which the Chinese have officially greeted American presidents.
Sure.
And until relatively recently, it has been with, a top official and an honor guard or something like that.
Right. Right. Right.
But the way they did, and this is not, I don't think it's to do with Trump. This has to do with the Chinese. Lots of school children
Oh.
jumping up and down, waving,
Yes.
is very Mao. That is
Yeah.
very.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
It
Yeah.
is
Yeah. Yeah.
not. It,
Yeah.
it's a totalitarian
Yeah.
leaders.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's what you see in North Korea, for instance,
Yeah.
which is programmed enthusiasm,
Right.
using school
No.
using
No.
school
No. No.
children.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that is a it sends a different kind of messaging. I don't know.
But
Um,
and is that a throwback on their part to Mao, or an acknowledgement of our totalitarian
well, I think
present?
that's
Or
interesting. I think it's both. I think it. Uh, 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 I think the Chinese premier is recasting himself as,
oh yes, oh yeah, oh
all
yeah, yeah,
powerful,
yes,
and I think he's saying, um, uh, they're very well aware in China of who Trump is and what he's like.
yes,
So they know he would like this, that he would enjoy this, right?
right, yes, no, yes, 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 and he did, and he clearly,
Oh yes, of course he did.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
well, he's a sucker. I mean, he's
yeah.
not he's not he's not difficult to manipulate.
No, and they all know it. No, 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 and world leader,
And
yeah,
they
no,
all know it, and
and
they
they,
manipulated the hell out
yeah,
of him. And I,
yeah,
I don't know if he did anything. I don't know if he did anything other than have some fish soup while he was there. I mean, in terms of all of his, all of the tech people, and I mean, I don't understand that at all, because aren't we supposed to be afraid that they're stealing all
So
our?
we bring our billionaires, but then we tell them to burn their phones. I know it's all yeah. I don't. If I mean if it's it, the messaging is very confusing as far as no, that all of that. One photo I saw just of sort of all of them at a very long table, and it was all men, and that's one thing that was observed, that it was
Oh
that this
yes, absolutely. Yeah,
and then
there
again
was a woman interpreter. There were no senior females on either
on
side.
either side, and that's very much on
Yeah.
either side. I think no deals, brought all these tech bro billionaires, no deals. Meanwhile, China's probably has is making deals with third parties to ship more weapons to Iran right under his nose.
Oh yeah. I think yeah. And it's
And
possible, of course, that they've kidnapped one of those billionaires and substituted a clone.
well, I'm careful because someone out there believes that and is already, is
Oh, I'm
already
sure they have. I'm sure
analyzing photographs to no,
to prove
look
that.
at his pinky before and his pinky now. It's I know. But okay, but no, amid the U.S. global perception is now lower than Russia or China. Did you hear this report that we are now people perceive so
People being all over the
people
world. People.
people being all over the world, they perceive us as less democratic than Russia or China under Trump, and that's I mean it's
I think it depends on who you ask. I don't
right.
know.
No, yes, I do too. I mean I do too. I
I
also
mean, you
think
might ask the Belgians might say yes. The Finns might not agree, but
right. No, exactly.
it depends on their proximity to China and Russia. Um, uh, but certainly I think the person in the street interviews about Trump worldwide, you're going to find very few people who think he's a important president, American president. I don't think, you know.
Yeah.
So so apparently, and not you again. I don't want to fan the flames of conspiracy theories, but the idea that did we discuss that Charlie Kirk's microphone was a bomb?
Oh
Uh,
no. I mean I'm not laughing. I'm not.
no, that it wasn't a bullet. It wasn't a bullet. It
Oh,
was.
okay. And where is this coming from? Who's saying this? No, I haven't heard this one. Uh,
I can't reveal my sources, because I don't remember. No,
yeah.
but I've heard it a couple of times that the Mossad,
Oh, okay.
because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
can do this. They can
Sure,
do this.
sure.
You know.
Um, yeah.
Um, so I don't know. So you better stay away from that micro. You better have
yeah,
that microphone debugged.
right, for sure.
Um,
Um,
for sure.
I do, and again, to me, it's
Oh, and
oh
she was involved.
no, right, no, right, and again, yeah, I was about to
That's
say
better. That's
that's
even better.
no, that's exactly
Yeah.
where I was going, which is to me, it's less about what did someone make happen versus what did they latch onto and opportunistically. So she came in to Turning Point USA to be an intern. She came in to be an intern. She ended up his wife and is now running it. And that trajectory from I mean
That's
is
very good. That's like Madam Mao. That's very
I mean
good.
that's wild. And yet, but again, I don't think she even needed to engineer anything. I think she just had to be in the right place at the right time a couple of times, and that's all it takes, especially in that world where you can go from I don't know, random dick pill prescriber to head of the FDA, or I mean, we're now putting the heads of the private prison in charge of ICE, like the whole they're going to privatize the whole thing that the liberals have been claiming for 20 years. We're just going to openly do it. I mean, Kevin Warsh is by far the richest Fed chair ever in the history of the feds. Do you think he's going to vote in? Do you think he's going to? Do you think his decision making is going to be based on the American public or his own pocketbook? He's also in the Epstein files, by the way.
He has no understanding or interest in the American public. First of all.
And that's well, if he did, he wouldn't have gotten the position. He wouldn't have been nominated if he did, or if that was his.
But we've got people who don't have law degrees that are now running. It is insane. And we have that wrestling woman in charge of education, right?
Yep.
Who's and I've seen them being being questioned by Democratic Congress people,
right?
And they have no. I mean, it's clear that they are pig ignorant.
Yeah.
About
what the content area
to be in charge of. They don't.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they haven't even bothered to sit up the night before and look at crib notes.
Right. No. Right. Right.
No, but I mean,
and they're so defiant and they're so confident that they can just go in and BS their way through it because apparently that's how they get away with things in their world. Yeah. No. And then they don't.
That's all the president does.
Right. No. Right.
He BS's his way through everything. And that doesn't matter if he's contradicted himself, even in the same sentence. So,
but nonetheless, they still end up they have these disastrous hearings. They still end up getting confirmed. They still, we talked about that guy who believes in teleportation. Someone asked Trump about him. Trump said, "Does he believe that? Was he serious?" Yes, he does believe that. Yes, he was serious. That was months ago, and he still doesn't. He's still in charge of FEMA. If there's a disaster in your or my area, this is the guy who's responsible.
Do you think Trump genuinely didn't know, or he knew, but he doesn't think it matters.
Well, it doesn't matter because even after he was informed, he didn't go, "Oh wow, I'm going to immediately remove this guy and put someone else in place." The guy is still in power, so it doesn't matter. That's the thing. We can be outraged. It can be a news cycle. You and I can talk about it. The late night, well, as long as they still exist, the late night hosts can joke about it, but it won't.
But they're being eliminated.
Yeah.
They're being eliminated. The universities are being, and the media, it seems to me, is being slowly eroded. I mean, once you have these guys owning CNN and CBS is caved. I mean, the media is caving. This really baffles me because aren't they thinking ahead? I mean, there's only 2 years to go. I mean,
right? No, right. It's what
they don't care that they're creating a history of actually being censored and being allowing themselves to be tools of the administration.
I think some of these institutions, and interestingly, some of the institutions that he has long gone after, like the New York Times, may not survive. I think the New York Times will survive, but I think some of these institutions, their credibility and whatnot, may not survive this era. But I think if you look at the history of journalism, if you look at it has always been the fourth pillar, but it has also always been, going all the way back to, the Federalist Papers, to the founding of this country, something where wealthy people can print what they want and spread the information that they want, and people can decide for themselves what is valid, what isn't. And there are always periods of time where propaganda becomes more and more prevalent and influential, and then times where it becomes less so. And again, who is spreading it changes over time. But yeah, like I said, I am worried about some of these legacy media, but I'm not worried about journalism in the long term. I think
Okay.
someone will take up that mantle, but right now it is a very, very dark time where we have, the entire press corps, the White House press corps. I mean, he revels in, I guess he. How dare you ask me a question about Iran? I mean, how dare you ask me a question is a really ridiculous response for any politician to any journalist about any question. Journalists are allowed to ask questions. They're supposed to ask tough questions. It's not a hostile or a personal act, but framing it that way is childish. But that is how we are treating it at the highest levels, and journalists are almost reacting that way. Oh no, I don't want to be perceived as mean. I don't know. I mean, it is. How the level of self-censorship is what really alarms me. It's not even CBS News and Barry Weiss and the whatever Skydance and the Ellisons are going to do, but it's the self-censorship at other places. It's the question that a journalist will ask, but then the very obvious follow-up that really would put Trump on point that they don't ask, that just lets him weasel out. Like, so what do you think of this guy with teleportation? The follow-up obviously would be, and what are you going to do about it? But no one asked that question, and so there's no I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
Because he's going to turn around and say you're a stupid person.
Yeah.
And he's going to denigrate on a personal level the journalist.
Yeah. And
if he doesn't want to answer their question or can't, he then turns on them and says, you look like a cow or something, or you're a loser. I mean, it's school yard stuff. Right?
But it works for them. Again, yet another. This week I've gotten emails from Kamala Harris, Hakeem Jeffries, etc., and their new language is, we gotta fight tough, we gotta come out tough, and it's like, you don't know. Okay, you don't know how to play dirty like they play dirty. You will never win at playing dirty, because they will always play dirtier, because it comes naturally for them, and it always seems like you're playing because you only are. Your hesitation. You will never. So don't wallow in the mud with them. Choose a different tactic. But they're all in on wallowing in the mud, apparently. Like, that's what the Democratic Party. And then back to journalism. I guess the California Post is a thing. Remember, the New York Post now has a California Post.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's all socialist, everything. Yeah, everything that everyone in Middle America says about California. Now you have a paper in California sort of broadcasting. I mean, it's all the liberals, homeless, violence, crime. I mean, everything that the New York Post always was. Actually, California is a perfect fertile ground for that.
Yeah, and I mean, particularly with the New York Post, it's the opinion writers and the policy writers,
yes,
are dyed-in-the-wool hypocrites. They're just right. They are only after circulation, and they'd say anything. They say,
yeah,
Meghan Markle's wonderful. Meghan Markle's a witch. Doesn't
yeah,
matter. They
yes,
actually don't care.
Yes,
because
yeah.
And they'll change from day to day depending upon what they think their readers want to hear, or what will get their readers incensed.
Yep.
Or I mean, and the more outrageous, it's close to a supermarket tab. I mean, it's close to those. Supermarket
it is. It's a very thin line.
And anything to do with trans athletes is catnip. And but I know those guys, and I know those guys, where they come from most of them are British journalists, and they're
Yes.
completely cynical.
Right.
They're not as if they were, they're on belong to some Washington secret Republican club
Right.
or other.
No. Right.
They
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
care less. And
It's just a.
if the
Yep.
wind changed rapidly, they
Yep.
would change just as
Yep.
they
Um,
yeah.
I watched a documentary on the first 20 years at Fox and sort of Rupert Murdoch's how he
Oh,
made, I mean, it started off buying up local news stations, and so local newspapers. In so much,
yeah,
you're buying up those journalists, and for a lot of those journalists, the early days of, and it's exactly like what you're saying, it was okay. We've got this shift. These aren't our politics, but this is the job now. And so we're just going to pitch these stories and whatever, and at the time, whether it was, Obama birther or whatever, whatever the catnip of the day was.
yeah.
And for some of them, they were in it for 10, 20 years until they really saw the societal effects. And so I have to get out of this. Like, this isn't neutral. This
Oh,
isn't.
yeah. The penny dropped. They realized that actually they were doing some damage, or they would.
But it took
Yeah.
time. I mean, it took a significant. Some of them did it, like I said, for years or decades, and it was just a job to them. They didn't think.
No,
Um,
they would write if they ran into a reader. They'd say, "You really believe that?" I mean,
well, right,
no,
no,
but
yeah,
in a way, it's
yeah,
like, well, you're not stupid, are you? I mean,
yeah.
we're selling papers here.
But and and that level has filtered all the way up to the highest levels of government as well. Because again, when J.D. Vance was asked, and this was before they won, when J.D. Vance was asked about the Springfield Haitian, they're eating the cats and dogs, he said, I am willing, and he admitted this, I am willing to make up a narrative if it's effective. That's their.
Well, that was the Nazi. I mean, that was the Nazi. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, yeah.
All right.
All right. Did you Olivia Rodrigo in a baby doll dress? Did you hear anything about this week? Did this?
I don't know who that is.
Okay, good. No, okay. She's a younger pop star, and I feel like the same sort of policing of what someone can wear that happens. It just happens. It's a very specific garment that she chose that has a long history with rebellious pop stars, but also it's this idea of self-ownership of your own sexualization in an industry where you're sexual. I don't know. In any event, I was just curious if it made if
No, I don't know. But there was. I mean, maybe there was in the 50s. Maybe
yes,
there was a baby doll movie. There was
yes,
a sensation. It wasn't pornographic at all, but it was about 16-year-old, and it was advertised with a kind of baby doll pajama top
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. So but that is a well-worn theme
Yes,
in American culture,
yes,
which I think almost, I mean, it's up for grabs whether you're an arch feminist or
yes.
a baby doll. I mean,
Right. No, right. And yeah,
in other words, it would have now lots of interesting connotations to people who I get people who know. I don't know
right.
how
No,
to say
right.
it.
Yeah. No, and again, for me
But
to
it
see,
is what it is. It's also it is what it is.
it is what it is,
Right?
and no, to me to see. I don't think there's very much outrage at punk or metal anymore. You say, I mean, when I was a toddler teacher, parents would give their kids mohawks, but and send their kids in, Sex Pistols shirts, which is funny to see a 4-year-old in a
Right.
shirt that says Sex Pistols on it. But, you know, and there is still somewhere in middle America outrage over a certain type, over whether it's a piercing or hairstyles or things that I've long since to me are generationally, like who gets outraged at that? But someone still does. To someone's cult, that's still an affront to someone's culture, values, what have you. And therefore, the same rebellious counterculture can be recycled over and over. It's not, it's not new. And
Yeah.
then, someone
No,
from,
it's not new, but it's now uniform. I mean, it's a kind of
yeah,
no. The best clip for me was women, young women in the Louvre, obviously having alerted the press, bearing their tops, and
yes,
they had
yeah,
Trump, Epstein.
yeah,
I thought that was very effective.
yeah,
There's a group, they've been doing this for a number of years, actually. I think
yes,
they've
yeah,
even
yeah,
done it in Russia.
yeah,
And it's very good because it immediately
yes, and
it makes everybody look,
yeah,
but
and
then it's not about that. So,
right,
oh,
and it is a type of political theater that requires no props or you don't have to
yeah,
sneak
exactly.
anything in. You can all you have to
No,
do is take
exactly.
off your shirt, and they
Yeah,
can't
it's
stop
very
that.
good.
No, I
Yeah.
agree. All right, I have some recommendations for you.
Okay, I got
So
to go to lunch
yeah,
now.
I will let you go to lunch. All right, all right. It's a book called "The Beginning Comes After the End," and
Okay.
and it is on a theme that we've talked about before, which is the times we are in now are dark, but it's only because of how much progress we've had. The only
Okay.
reason they are coming after things like the Civil Rights Act
Right.
and the Voting Act is
Right.
because of how successful and effective they are at shifting society. So we are in a reactionary period like Jim
I
Crow.
agree. 100%.
And so, yeah, no, the
The,
quote, and this is just from the introduction. It says, "We are living we are living through a revolt against the future. The future will prevail."
yeah. I,
Uh,
I, I, I believe that, and I won't say I predicted it, but I did think that there would be. I didn't think it would be this successful, but there would be a when Obama was elected,
yes,
that the white America was not going to go quietly,
yes, yeah.
basically.
Yeah. I
And
mean, and
as Obama was elected, and as the minority majority gets closer and closer, that there
right,
would be scream. We're hearing.
yes,
I think we're hearing the screams of a dying animal.
yeah, the
It'll
desperate
take a long
gas.
time to die, and it'll
Sure.
do a lot of damage.
And they'll be
But
very loud about it as they, yeah, no,
very loud
the
about
gas,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Uh,
do. I agree 100%.
Okay. This is called The Ending Writes Itself. This is a
Okay.
novel. It is about, it is set in Scotland. It is about a famous author and a group of authors who've been invited to a retreat, but it turns out the famous author has died, and now they are responsible for writing the final chapter in the author's
Hold
final
it
book.
up.
It's called The Ending Writes Itself, but also, of course, um,
Yeah.
a mystery
Okay.
itself. This one's called "Enshittification: Why Everything Suddenly Got Worse and What We Can Do About It." I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. And then on DVDs, so The Monkey, Osgood Perkins came out with 2 movies last year. This
Oh,
one is
good.
based on Stephen King. It talks a lot about death. It talks a lot about family. It talks a lot about and so I mean, if you know his
Is
parents,
that on Netflix? Is
it
that
should be.
on?
I mean, it should be. Yeah, it should be somewhere on streaming. It's
Okay.
called The Monkey. Um,
Okay.
and then yeah,
I
no,
saw
okay.
that. Yeah.
And then the last one, and then this is called The Trip. It's a series of 4 movies. It is Steve Condon and Rob Brydon. They're both British actors. It is semi-autobiographical. Basically, they go through. It is a mockumentary of like those food travel shows. But basically, they're 2 guys who don't know anything about food who go to like places like
Uh,
Italy And I know it's
Oh,
just about
good.
two guys. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny. It's about relationships. So those are my recommendations. Anything? Yeah, anything you're watching? Anything you're reading? Anything you recommend?
Um, um, yes. Uh, Streaming The Island,
Oh,
Scottish,
yes,
and half of it is in Gaelic, which is
yes,
very interesting. With subtitles.
yeah.
Um, Very dark
Right on.
murder mystery,
Yes.
but beautiful scenery.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah.
So I've been watching that. Okay.
Sounds good. All right. Have a good rest of your
I
weekend.
love you.
I love you too. Talk
We're
soon.
back on schedule next
Yep.
week.
Okay.
Great.
Bye.
Have a great week.
You
Bye.
too. Bye.